But we got to start with the college football playoff, Max.
Mm,
This now recency bias for sure, but this might have been one of the best college football playoffs I've seen with those two games.
yes,
Both
absolutely.
games, both games came down to the last play. The last play decided both games. Now you're gonna have to look that up if that's ever happened in the playoff because I'm not sure it has.
Hmm.
Let's talk about the Rose Bowl first. The number one seed Michigan Wolverines, they beat the 4 seed Alabama 27-20 in overtime. Michigan came out super nervous in this one. The jitters were obvious. First play of the game, they had a pick. It was overturned. But JJ McCarthy threw it right to the guy. Two muff punts, a missed snap on a PAT, late hits, running into the kicker that wasn't called. The special teams were awful all night.
Mm,
The attention to detail wasn't present from in that first quarter. Wasn't present. But that Michigan D, that defensive line, they had Bama fooled. 5 sacks by five different players in the first half. 5 sacks by five different players in the first half. They should have been up more than 13-10 at halftime.
hmm.
No score in the third quarter. We go into the fourth. Alabama kicks a field goal later on to go up 20-13 with under 5 minutes remaining. 20-13 Alabama under 5 minutes. Michigan then drove 75 yards down the field to tie the game on a Roman Wilson touchdown to send the game into overtime. This was the third overtime game in college football playoff history. Michigan got the ball first, and Blake Corum scampered 17 yards for the score. This was Corum's 56th career rushing touchdown, breaking the Michigan all-time rushing touchdown record.
Amazing,
56.
amazing.
Michigan scored the final 14 points of the game. J.J. McCarthy ended up with 3 passing touchdowns to 3 different receivers. Blake Corum ended up with 118 total yards and 2 tutties. The defense held Bama quarterback Jalen Milroe to 116 yards passing, by far his lowest of the season.
Mm.
Max, give me your thoughts on this Rose Bowl victory for Michigan.
Again, like you said, oh, what an exciting game. What an exciting game. You know Alabama was going to bring it. This is the powerhouse of college football. It is
Big Baldy.
Alabama.
Big
It's
Baldy.
Alabama. Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
It's so it's so good to see though in sports when the juggernaut goes down. Okay, a team that always wins. Someone else took the crown, and the Wolverines are in the championship. They've been aching for this. Aching.
Oh,
You know John
scratching.
Harbaugh. You know John Harbaugh was aching for this. Uh, but hey, they made it. They have a great. I mean, obviously, they have the best team in college football, and this is going to be a great championship game. Unbelievable.
This win for Michigan over Alabama was their first college football playoff win in school history. They were previously 0-2 in the previous 2 seasons. 14 wins this year for Michigan is the most in school history. Let's go on to the Sugar Bowl here, Max, in the nightcap. The Washington Huskies, undefeated out of the Pac-12, they beat Texas 37-31 in a shootout. This game was
Yeah.
high flying right from the start. Both teams trading 3 touchdowns before halftime. Third quarter, Washington takes the lead. They outscored Texas 10-0 in the third. Washington took a 34-21 lead early in the fourth quarter on a field goal. That's when I felt like Washington, they took their foot off the pedal here. They were up 13 with under 8 minutes remaining. Up 13 with under 8 minutes remaining. That's when Texas marched down. Wide receiver Adonai Mitchell, he snagged a tutty to make it 34-28. Both teams traded field goals before a late drive by Texas created some more fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
Texas had 4 plays inside the 15-yard line that Washington bent. They bent on them, but they didn't break. They held on to win 37-31. Quarterback for Washington, Michael Penix Jr., he was amazing in this one. 430 fucking yards, 2
Oh my
touchdowns.
lord.
He was throwing darts. He was throwing missiles. You know, people are throwing around, obviously, Jaden Daniels, the Heisman winner from LSU. People are throwing around Drake May from UNC and Bo Nix and for top quarterbacks in the NFL draft. What about Michael Penix? This
Mm.
guy's gonna be playing on Sundays, Max.
Mm.
Running back Dylan Johnson, he had 2 rushing scores. Wide receiver Rome Adunze had 125 receiving yards. There was 1,030 yards of total offense in this game.
Oh my gosh.
Washington had 532 yards. Texas had 498.
Unbelievable.
Max, give me your thoughts on this Sugar Bowl victory for the Huskies of Washington.
I don't know. Was this one of the best games ever? Like, oh my gosh, it was so incredible. Maybe one of the best games ever in the college football playoff. Okay, I think we can probably whip up a handful of games that maybe can compare to it, but my gosh, especially at the end of the game, like you were saying, it looked like Washington took the foot off the gas, and then Texas was like, "No fucking way, we're the fucking Longhorns, baby!" And they literally had a chance to take to win the game. It seemed like a one of those miracle movies, I don't know what, like Friday Night Light type of scenario where the coach sits down and has this incredible speech, and they come out, and then they're just short regardless. Like they're still short. They lose, but in their fans' hearts, oh, it was the try. That's all that matters. We came together as a team. We came together to do it, and we still lost. But unbelievable game. You're right about this quarterback from Washington. Unbelievable. This guy. Do you think he's going to the NFL next season? Is he a senior, by the way? I don't even know.
Sixth year.
So he's going to the NFL. He'll definitely be there. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of really quick on the Bears first overall pick. There's going to be a lot of conversation for that number one overall pick. Do the Bears go for a quarterback, or do they, maybe go for Marvin Harrison Jr. of Ohio State? But we'll talk about that when we get closer to the draft, because this guy, I mean, that quarterback, he looks like he could be a top pick in that NFL draft.
And I definitely left out Caleb Williams. Let's not forget him as the top quarterback going in the draft. I definitely
Yes.
missed his name there.
Yes.